What has been the result? I mean, you've been doing videos for several years. You have all kinds of videos out there on Facebook, on YouTube, that you use in many different ways. How has that helped you?
So I think it helps me connect more with people from my past as much as people from my future, and really just that reach is different, you know. Also, as odd as it may seem, I do think video is branding us a little bit more as the expert than what people may think because we're on camera, we're talking about and educating. It's not about a sales pitch, it's about really here's what's going on today in the market, or here's what we've seen in the past 2 or 3 weeks, or here's what we forecast, like you said. So I think those things, a lot of surface people in my business via a mortgage or real estate possibly don't really touch on some of those things in fear of, I don't want to scare people away too.
Mhm.
So I think that reach has kind of leveled a different playing ground for you kind of being called a little bit more of an expert in your field because you are putting that information out there.
That's
So
interesting because you could type it out in an email, you can put it on a blog post, but that extra step, same information that you verbally come out with is that change, that
yeah,
difference.
yeah, 100% it is. I think you come across different and you speak to them differently to where they understand. Maybe it's just like you said, as far as reading, it's you have two tones to every email, right?
Right.
And people can take that a different way or a direct way or maybe just a slack way. And I think really hearing someone have a conversation just changes the way they actually go forward.
Mm, that's great. So when you create videos now,
Mhm.
like what is your process? How is it different now than it used to be? And how can we help people who are sort of struggling with their process right now?
Well, you taught me a lot in regards to telling a little bit about myself and my story in each thing that we do, whether it be just a simple 2-minute video or something. I'm spilling something out there that is relatable to them. So I think that was huge in me learning to get past that fear and saying, okay, in anything that I do on a daily basis with any consumer, I've been there or done that, right? Or I've
Yes.
had a circumstance that's been there and done that. So that kind of warms it up a little bit. So bring that into video. So that's one of the biggest things you taught me. And then the other thing I think as far as just really diving into it is I became more comfortable. I love the interview style, and that's like I think my forte. I like that better, no matter what. I'm not afraid to do it alone anymore, but I do like the interview style better and talking out with someone, and I think it brings more out me. But I think it's just really just whatever it is, don't overthink it and write down a couple scripts or a couple just 2 sentences that's going to roll for 20 minutes. What that looks like for you and what that topic looks like. And I mean, we all know our craft. We've all studied it for years. So we just need to put that on video and relate it to everybody.
I need to write
Right?
that down. That's great stuff, right? And it really makes a difference. I think people, once they see that you love what you do, and that really is what comes out if you do it right,
Mhm.
then they'll know right away if you're
Right.
someone they want to follow up with, especially with what you do. It's so technical, and people can't do it on their own. They need someone like you to help them if they're looking to purchase a home or they want help in order to get to that place where they can.
Yeah, we're kind of reining that back in with COVID because we're kind of making that all more relatable because we have to get 2 times as much information as what we normally would just in case, you
Yeah.
know? So that definitely is different from where we were probably even just 6 weeks ago.
Mm. So how will that change how you market and how you approach your videos? Will you do things differently? What is that plan? And maybe you haven't even come to that because I know you're busy and I appreciate that because I know that things are really busy in your office. But how will you use video in the future since you know it's worked for you and you know that it helps create that connection? It's more important now than ever that they hear certain messages from you.
Sure. Sure. So can I give you an example?
Yes,
And I'll
absolutely.
just make it very short.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like the forbearance thing we were talking about,
Mhm.
that has nothing to do with me or my business. I'm not a mortgage servicer on who you pay your payment to,
Yeah.
but we had to start going out there and educating people ahead of information that was even coming in down from the government to know that people need to look for detailed information or read the fine print in everything that they do right now with COVID. And
Mhm.
we do too as well. So I think more aligned, we're educating people on things that we don't even do in-house. Like there's things that would affect our business possibly, but it's not something that we may actually do. So it's educating them more on that information,
Great.
and putting that in front of them. So a little bit more in regards to not your standard stuff of what a regular loan officer or a guide mortgage consultant would tell them in regards to how they qualify, but more or less scenarios on why they wouldn't qualify, on scenarios what they shouldn't do, and,
Mm.
or even just going back to the basics of proper planning 6 months ahead of time, 9 months ahead of time, instead of thinking, oh, we had dinner out this weekend and now we want to go buy a house on Monday. I mean, it was that easy
Right.
again, and now it's not again. So, so now it's just putting that information, different things that what we probably weren't doing 6 months ago that we're going to start doing again.
Mhm. Well, and it's also laying that foundation. So when you were saying earlier that you almost have to give double the information that you did before on any conversation that you have with a potential client,
Mhm.
you do that on video. You add sort of that extra step of here's what will happen if you don't pay, here's what happens if this happen. And so you're really layering those messages
Mhm.
and creating a real strong foundation of content going
Right,
forward.
right. And then you can keep it forever. And it applies to almost everybody,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
So then they start watching, or you send it out, or you say, oh, I did a video on that. Let me send you this, you
Yes,
know?
exactly.
So and they really like it. So I definitely think as far as that goes, it's going to be almost 10 times more in education. And you know me, I love to educate,
Mhm.
but even more so now than ever before in the next 2 years.
It's your passion. I know it. So, how would you help someone else? So, we talk with a lot of business owners, and we have business owners and marketers in this community, and maybe they've dabbled in video, maybe they haven't, maybe they're thinking about it, maybe they're seeing that there's so many people already out there that it's pretty crowded. What would you say to them? How would you help them get over that hump?
Besides just do it, is in regards to the simple stuff that you think that people wouldn't care about, but they want to listen to, like even simple, like how do you make an appointment with my company?
Mm,
How do you, or what should I do the day I close? Or or even, just I'm trying to think of some simple things that you wouldn't think of. Every day driving to work, I think about, man, I should talk about this, or I should talk about this. It could be very in my profession. I have a lot of stuff to talk about, but then you also have to be cautious on informing people too much, and you don't want to scare them off, but you want to give them the right information. But depending on what type of business is, just like restaurants right now, I mean, people are booming as far as who's taking out, who's not taking out, the support that's going on, even if it's just a 2-minute video on Facebook to let them know what the hours are that they're open, or
yeah.
when their specials are. So those, it could be, and like I said, it could be anything as far as when we start opening up the appointment schedules. How do you book the appointments? What do you not do? I mean, things that we wouldn't think about really putting out there that just as common knowledge that,
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, in my neighborhood chat, we put out who has toilet paper and who has paper
Mhm.
towels. You
That's
know
a good
what I'm
one. I bet
saying?
that video got a lot of views.
Yeah, I mean, let's go. I mean,
Right.
so I mean, it just depends. But it is definitely depending on what your business is. It's the simple things that people probably want to know that you would think that that's not what you need to do a video on.
Mhm. It feels almost as if it is like, why would they not know that already? And that is
Mhm.
the video you need to do. The
Right.
one
Oh
that
yeah.
says how people can work with you, what your hours are. That's a really big one, especially now that some businesses have shortened their work weeks, have shortened their days. And I mean, even just as simple as, hey, do you do online transactions? That's a huge
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So it's even making me think as, as the business owner as well. And I teach video, so awesome that we have talked about this so much at length. So thank you so much. We're appreciating the comments and people joining us. If you're joining us for this last part of our interview, let us know what your business is, because we're business owners, we're marketers, and I think it's important that we get to know what we all do. And I'm going to ask you, Corrina, when this is over, to post in the comments your video on forbearance. It's very, very good, and it's the one where you have interviewed all the people on your team, just talking about what it is. Forbearance is not forgiveness. So I'll have you post that in there just so people can see one of the videos that you've created. And, it takes time, right? It takes time to build this love of video. But I think once we built it, right, Corrina, now I can stop you, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, and even me, I mean, we've been so busy at work. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm neglecting my videos. I need to do my videos. And that Saturday morning or Sunday morning, those are the things to hop on, and you think you get more views, but now everybody's home. So it's like almost any day.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily matter. But what's the most important thing is that you start, right? As you start and as you have ideas that can help your clients and customers, it's just the best one to do the video on. So the Video Bootcamp registration is open. Our next session starts next week. And as a student of the bootcamp, do you have any advice for folks who may be thinking about joining us for our next cohort?
Do it and practice. And listen to Cheryl, because I mean, she's honestly giving you, I mean, she's told me, okay, don't do that. Or don't wear that. So I mean, she'll critique you and be honest with you, but at the same time, it's some good feedback that, some of the stuff we already know, some of the stuff we just want someone else to tell us just to do it. And then the other part is, I still look at my notes from the last one on, things that we looked up and what not to do, and building our story, building our brand, those things. So I look at that all the time. And even in like a three sentence, 4 sentence where I'm going to pick apart some information that I want to tell, I look, where's that story? What does that look like? Am I bringing part of myself into it? And then, is this part of my brand too? So, those things. So it's definitely great, informational. And Cheryl, I appreciate you as always. Thank you.
I appreciate you. I've got one question from a viewer, and I'll answer it after you answer it. Is pre-recorded better than live? What's your take on that?
So my answer is I would say no. Now that I've got used to it. So 9 months ago, I would have said pre-recorded all day, right?
Right.
And I know that's how much has changed in 9 months, right?
I know.
I mean, because even 4 or 5 years ago, we were all pre-recorded. Let's do this. Let's plan this out. Let's do this. That's not really what people want to hear, right? I mean, so my answer to that question is live, right?
Live is fantastic. And I can't, and I've worked with enough people to know that if I say to most people, not everybody, but if I say to most people, I need you to go live, they're going to run away. Like, they will literally run away from me. And now some people don't have a problem with that. Some people don't have a problem being live and being out there. And right. And so the question or the comment is, what if you make a mistake? That's what live is. And it's the ums and the ahs and the I mean, it all comes in.
And for me, I mean, sorry guys. I mean, in our office, it's very stressful, and sometimes we curse like sailors. So it's really hard to get online and not or if I'm umming, it's because I may have said something I shouldn't have said, or dropped the S-bomb or something, So you do have, you do watch yourself a little bit more. So that's why when you write down your 3 or 4 sentence script, you kind of have an idea of where you're going with it, but not overthinking it.
Right.
But hey, that's part of what makes you real, right?
It is.
You know, I mean, so the grandma dropping the F-bomb now and then or the S-bomb now and then, I mean, they get it. I mean, I'm working 15 hours a day. How can it not be stressful? You
Right.
know, but I want to say, hey, guys, I need you to listen and put this information together. And this is why we need 2 months bank statements. You're buying a $400,000 house, you know. So, you know what I mean? So just putting that information out there and being passionate about it, and you may just really surprise yourself of what's out there.
Mhm.
And again, I mean, we all have lives, and we all are, you know, just who we are, and that's why people like you, and that's why people do business with who what they like.
Because they like you, because they can see themselves maybe hanging out with you in your pool. You know, like one of the like really, like honestly, that's how it works out and how it comes across. There is a place for pre-recorded. There's definitely a place for pre-recorded. We did, you and I did a video together on your business that worked because it was pre-recorded because we
Yeah,
got your business video. We got interviews with your team, and that's a little harder on live. So there's a place for pre-recorded. But if there's something that you want to get out quickly that you can share in a way that is kind of quick and punchy, live is a great way to do that. And a conversation like this is a great way as well.
yeah. I mean, so not to touch on that too long, but the pre-recorded video that we did with you,
Yeah.
and then if you remember the one we did on our own on the football field of our
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
introducing the team
Yeah.
that we planned out for like months for that football field, and then the one that you did, and it was kind of impromptu but pre-recorded.
Mhm.
We still play those like
Mhm.
every 3, 4, 5 months on Facebook, or they're embedded in my signature line, you know, on my email, and we get views all the time.
Mhm.
So I agree. I mean, with the pre-recorded, I think it's going to be more lines of what you want to come across professional, and
Mhm.
maybe that longer introduction of who
Mhm.
you are or your business and different things like that.
Yeah.
But if you're going for your day to day and relatable for people to do business with you today, life
Mhm.
is good.
That's great. And it's
Mhm,
just they're tools in your toolbox. Tools
mhm.
in your toolbox. And I can't thank you enough for spending some of your precious time with us, Corrina. Like you're the best. Where can people find you? Location, email, website, whatever is the best way for people to
Sure,
find you.
sure. We just rebranded our website and email to shorter, so that's great. So it's cmsmortgage.com. It
Okay.
took me 5 years to buy it. So I mean, these are things that, you know, you look at what is going to be easier for you to do business. So
Yeah.
cmsmortgage.com is where you can find us, and my email is ccarter@cmsmortgage.com. And we're in Virginia Beach, but if you know anybody who's looking to buy or refinance, please give one of my hometown mortgage experts a call. They will be glad to walk you through everything.
Corrina, as always, a pleasure to talk with you. Folks in our chat are really enjoying your honesty and are probably, like I am, looking forward to seeing more of your very real live videos.
Yeah, they're real and they're live, right?
That's right. Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
Cheryl.
joining. Yes, thank you for joining, everybody. Please keep in the comments just sharing what it is you do. I love that you're sharing some of your tips and tricks and videos. We'll catch you for the next video, and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.